Hello, and welcome to an intro to Anthro with two humans. I'm human number one, John McCray.
And I'm human number two, John Lehr.
And this is the podcast where we reassess what it means to be human. And the title of this episode is Squeaky Clean, a Holistic History of Human Hygiene.
So, John, you're so on the cutting edge.
You think?
Because, the number one streaming show right now is Shogun.
Really?
And a big part of Shogun, or one of the early sort of, points that the show makes, is how little the British bathed. And how much the Japanese did. And they were just like, looked at him like, because it's about a British soldier who gets from the shore in Japan.
People always write about that, about how smelly the Europeans were.
Mm-hmm.
But
that's right.
I was trying to say it's hard in this title. I used a quadruple H alliteration, which was like you had to have some breath control on that one. I was afraid I was going to.
Yeah, you really gotta use your diaphragm. You got another in you? You want to try it one more time?
Squeaky Clean, a holistic history of human hygiene.
Nice.
Ooh, at the end, it's coming out. It's coming.
Yeah. You're like, hygiene. Hygiene is a little breathless. But good work. Good work. Now let's see you come in. We'd like to see you come in with a Quinn, a fiver, maybe with a glottal. Like you come in hard. A ka, or a ta.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Anyway, something to shoot for.
I think I'm hyperventilating after doing that twice. I may have to breathe into a bag.
Poor man's buzz. Poor man's buzz.
I have been known. Somebody mentioned to me one time that I use the aspirated WH. Have you ever heard of the aspirated?
No. What's that?
Yeah, it's where you expel a little air before you say the WH consonant group. So like, why?
Damn.
So is
that the proper way to pronounce it? I mean, is that?
I don't think so anymore. People just say like, why? You don't aspirate it. But somehow, I don't think it's just me, because I had a friend who was a linguist in Chicago one time.
Oh boy, those linguists.
Yeah. And I was talking to her, and all of a sudden she stopped. She goes, "Oh my God!" And I go, "What?" And she goes, "You're using the aspirated WH." She goes,
You said, "I go what?" You mean I go?
Yeah. It was like,
what are you talking about?
Yeah,
that.
What? Why are you stopping? Why? And she said, I've only read about it. I've never heard someone actually use it. And I had no idea I was using it. So
wow.
It must be.
How? I'm against it. And I'll tell you why. I think it spreads germs.
I don't ask that many questions.
I'll tell you one place that they would never use the aspirated WH would be on the planet Dune.
Really?
Because after seeing the movie, I've learned that you've got to keep as much moisture in your body as possible.
Oh, really?
So you would be aspirating. That'd be a big no-no.
Do they talk at all? Do you try to limit your conversation?
They talk, but they try to keep it all in. I don't know. But they wear these suits called still suits where all of your urine and feces and sweat gets reprocessed back into drinking water, and that keeps you alive.
Really?
Yeah.
Just don't aspirate your W's. The only other place I saw anybody bring it up was on Family Guy. And it was Brian the dog was making fun of Stewie for using the aspirated WH.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Family Guy has touched on. What hasn't Family Guy touched on?
I know, you're on for long enough, you'll get to everything.
Yeah. All of culture.
But he kept saying cool whip. But it was the aspirated WH that he was using. And so I guess, when you play that game, who would play you in the movie? To me, it's got to be Stewie Griffin. I'd be a cartoon in the
That's
movie.
Fantastic. That makes sense to me. After knowing you as long as I have.
big
I
head,
like that. Yeah,
kind
Stewie.
of a snob. Who would play you? Who do you think would play you in those?
Gilligan from
Gilligan?
Gilligan's Somebody stupid.
I don't know.
Trying to think.
Jason Bateman? Do you ever get Jason Bateman?
I get that a lot, or I did before I let before my hair went fully gray. I would get Jason Bateman quite a bit,
Really?
and I've met him, and seemed like a very nice guy. I didn't, I just met him. I am very friendly with his sister Justine, who I love.
She was in our short film, even.
Yes,
Justine
she was.
Yeah.
And she was so great in it. And she's such a great person. And she's so smart and talented.
Yeah.
And big union person.
Nice.
So, like that.
Yeah.
Filmmaker, book writer. She can, what do you call it? Code.
Really?
I mean, she's legit, Yeah,
she brought
cool.
another level to our short film. Like she had a small role with small, like 1 or 2 lines, but it was just like it took it to a whole different level.
Yeah.
How about Johnny Marr? Johnny Marr from the Smiths? Do you ever see? Sometimes I see photos of him now. He kind of look like, I look at that as like, is that Lehr playing guitar?
That's huge. That's cool. He was a tall dude though, and very, I don't know, sexy. I don't know if I have that.
Yeah.
He was like, God, the way he could sing, he was cool.
Richard Belzer.
That makes more sense. Now you're in my pocket.
Well, whoever it is, they got to learn how to act with a cartoon. Stewie
Who do people say you look like? What do you get?
Who is it? I used to get Michael J. Fox a lot when I was in college.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I get that.
Yeah, and I went to somehow went to like the Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, those people that do the chanting.
Yes.
And afterwards, this Korean woman kind of pointed at me and called me over, and everybody was thinking she was going to give me some enlightenment or something, And when I leaned down to her, I was like, yeah, she was an older woman. I leaned down, she goes, you really look like Michael J. Fox.
Later in life, you remind me of the dad on Malcolm in the Middle. I mean, no, on the 70s show. He was also in RoboCop.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah, the big head.
I feel like
big
you could
forehead.
Yeah, but also not just the forehead. There's something else going on there too. Yeah. I always think of you when I see. I love RoboCop. I just think the first one is a great movie. I'll buy that for $1.
We'll have to put up some of our doppelgangers. And
good idea. Good idea.
Jeff sent me one that he thought I looked like recently, and I can't remember. I can't think of the guy's name right off. He's an English director, but I can't think of his name right off. But I'll put that out there.
All right.
But anyway, if you're a linguist out there looking to study the aspirated WH, get a grant. Put me up at a resort somewhere.
Look no further. He's right here. I'm going to do the aspirated R. Right here.
I'll tell you the who's and the what's and the where's of my life and accent.
And maybe even a why.
All right, but back to business. Today, John, we are going to be talking about personal hygiene. How we as humans keep clean. I can't stop doing it now.
I know.
And we've touched on cleanliness before in a few other different episodes. We did our trash episode.
Yes, we did.
On them.
Yep.
In our smell episode.
Yes. Well, as we begin to explore what it means to be a human, the spider web begins to intersect and things all interrelate.
Yeah. Isn't that we could refer back to things that you remember in our class where we talked about it all begins. We're filling in the blanks.
Yeah, we sure are. We sure are.
That's
getting close to the final. The thesis. Everybody's going to have to present a thesis.
Right. You have to send it to us. We'll grade it. It's the percolation model of it. There is I talked about it in my thesis. It was a percolation model of archaeological theories where you kind of fill in, you use whatever theory you need to fill in different parts of the problem you're trying to solve, and then eventually those problems, they start to overlap and fill in and percolate up. The answers percolate
Yes.
up.
Oh, I love percolated coffee. So good.
Yeah, me too. Me too. That's one of my favorite things when you go camping, to have the coffee on the fire.
Percolated, when it's like, how does it work? It goes up that tube and into that thing and then bubbles up in the glass thing. It's brilliant.
Yeah, keep doing it. It just keeps doing it.
It just keeps going, and it's like a light show. And it makes that noise. It's fantastic.
But anyway, so we were talking about personal hygiene, and a couple weeks ago, I don't know, it wasn't that long ago. It was April 24th on BBC.com. Again, being Stewie Griffin, I read BBC. It was Matilda Wellen wrote an article called "There's No Need to Shower Every Day. Here's Why."
Oh boy. Here's why. Sorry. Sorry. Everybody at home is like, stop.
Yeah, enough already. But I don't need encouragement. I'll go back in and I'll dub it all in later without I'll try to do it. I don't even know if I could do that. And in the article, Wellen says, some experts believe that everyday showering is based more on a social contract than actual need.
Well, I don't understand. Are they mutually exclusive? I mean, isn't that the same thing?
Well, let's see if she talks about, for one thing, she says during the pandemic, for example, she said she started working from home. She moved into with a partner who didn't shower as much as she did. And then she says middle-aged laziness pushed me to abandon an almost 3 decades long habit. So she says now, as long as she doesn't exercise, she doesn't need to shower every day. So I think she's talking about whether biologically we need to shower every day, or if there's a social contract that says we need to shower every day.
Well, that happened with me too during the pandemic. Right. I started showering later in the day.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't shower getting up because there was no point,
Right,
and then I would exercise, I always like exercising in the afternoon rather than in the morning. And just in the morning, it's too painful.
Yeah.
And then I would shower later in the evening. So now I showering in the morning, I only do that if I have a meeting that I'm going to.
Really? Do you do it when you do your meetings online, or is it only?
No, I mean, if I have an in-person online meetings, no. If I showered the night before, I'm good. I brush my teeth and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah.
See, that was when because I used to go into the office every day, and then during the pandemic, there was like, my friend and I were the last people in the office. They finally told us we had to go home. We couldn't stay in there. And there was still, for about 2 years during the pandemic, I would still wake up, shower, press a shirt, put on pants, tuck in my shirt, put on dress shoes to go work on the computer. You know what I mean?
Amazing. You're amazing. This is what I love about you. Because you were getting uniformed up. You were getting in uniform. I get that. It's a costume. It's your theater background coming through.
Right. It's a ritual. It wasn't so much that the appearance, but it's the ritual of separating the personal me from the work me.
I know what I mean? I support that.
And it's sort of a way to show that you're entering a different mode. And as an experiment, I didn't. Usually before we record, I'll bathe and I'll go in and trim my beard, and I'll trim my eyebrows and my ears.
Wow, you're really good. God, damn. What kind of ear trimmer? What kind of trimmer you use? You want to endorse it?
Electric trimmer, yeah. I think I don't know if it's a Norelco. It may be. Let's try to get a deal first.
Okay.
We'll put a package together for
that. Yeah. God, I'd love it if we were sponsored by ear trimmers. That's fantastic. Because for those of you who aren't middle-aged men, hair starts to grow out of places. That's just insane. I feel like maybe we've talked about this.
We talked a little bit about it. Yeah.
My God, the sheer gauge of the hair is insane. Like how thick and strong it is.
Can you imagine if that was on top of your head? If you had that sort of
I can't imagine. It would be like you could use it to scrub a sink. Just stick your head in there.
And it comes out so fast. That's what I'm always like overnight.
Yeah.
Overnight, it will suddenly be like,
whoop, it grows up like I don't know, like a weed.
So wait, John. My question for you is, how clean are you? Are you a clean freak? Do you consider yourself? Or how fastidious are you in normal situations? Like about your...
I'd give myself a B-.
Really?
Well, I wash. I remember what was it? My brother or somehow it came up that I wash my feet, and he's like, "You wash your feet every day?"
Oh, no.
Because a lot of people don't do that, and I was like, "Meaning you?" It's like
he's one of those
say,
people.
You don't pee in the shower, everybody, and I'm like, "No, I do not pee in the shower." And now that you've said that, I will never take a shower in your shower.
Yeah.
That's disgusting. That is not okay.
Yeah. There's something. I'm against that too myself.
No, there's pee goes in the toilet. Dirty body water goes in the shower. That's just, anyway. I need to shower every day. Although there are days when I don't. Now that I have worked from home, I'll go a day, but rarely will I go 2 days. Rarely.
Yeah.
I don't shampoo every day because I was told by my hairdresser not to do that. So she was like, shampoo like, every 3 or 4 days and just put conditioner in. So I'll do that.
Yeah.
I hate to shave. I just hate it.
Yeah.
And so I usually only shave when I get paid to shave, or if it just gets so bad that it's bothering me, starts getting itchy.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I don't do that. I wear deodorant. I wash my entire body. I have different soap for my face than for my body. So I'll use a bar like for my body.
Yeah.
And then I'll use anything for my body. I don't give a shit, whatever it is. But then for my face, I use Cetaphil.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Do you travel with that? Do you have like a soap container that you travel with?
But now that I travel a lot, it's kind of all come off the rails,
Yeah.
It's like more because you're in, whatever. But I still,
How about
excuse me,
cologne? Do you ever put on cologne or just deodorant?
I don't. I put on an aftershave that has a nice smell to it. It's a Nivea product. It's more of a lotion than like an Aramis.
How about
excuse the coughing? Sorry.
Where do you get your hair done? Your hair looks pretty nice.
There's a super inexpensive barber in Thai Town in LA on Hollywood Boulevard who it's like $15. I always tip him 10 just because it's so cheap. And he's just great.
How often do you go? How often do you go for your hair?
Well, I don't know. Probably like every 6 weeks, maybe. There's a point where my hair, and this is also, I think, getting older, a point where my hair will just turn into a Q-tip. Like it'll go from like that kind of cool television haircut to just a Q-tip. And then I'm like, I got to go in. And it just happens overnight. It just turns on you.
I always wonder, what is that? Like, does it finally reach where your hair, they just start pushing against each other and then suddenly just pop up?
It goes out on the sides. It go out. I don't know. It just all of a sudden. I floss every day.
Nice. That's good.
I use a electric Sonic Care toothbrush.
Yeah.
And I use mouthwash. So that's everything. And deodorant and
you wash your feet every day.
I wash my feet every day. Hell yeah. And the rear, the important, the areas that, need to be clean are clean. So I'm pretty clean. I don't know.
That is, you look put together. I always say that. Yeah. People ask me about you. Like, what's Lehr like? I'm like, well, he's put together. He's
really? Yeah. That's how you define me. That's interesting.
Yeah. And then if they push a little more, want a little something personal, then I'm like, well, I gotta go. I got a call I gotta take. I'm gonna move on.
You won't go. Tell him I wash my feet. I give you permission.
But in the article, Matilda Wellen says that infrequent showerers are often regarded with suspicion. And that's kind of like what we were talking about with the feet. Like you find out somebody doesn't wash something every day or not so often, you look at them with suspicion, for example.
Yes.
And
it's like people who've never had a drink.
Yeah.
I'm always like, what? Yeah, I've never ever had a drink. I'm just like, wait a minute. What's wrong with you? Let me get down and
at least have one and then realize that, at least get on the roller coaster once before you say you don't like roller coasters.
There's one way to go with alcohol, and that's abuse it until it turns on you.
I know. It's only a matter of time. Eventually it will, but at least try it. At least try it. Yeah. I admit there was a time back in college when when I came back from France, because in France back in the 80s, like in the dorm room, we had dorms down the hall, but in the room you had a bidet. They were like single rooms for people. There was only one person in each of the dorm rooms, so you had a sink and a bidet. And most of the French students would use that throughout the week, and then they go home on the weekends to take a shower or a real bath or something. Yeah. So, and we would usually use the bidet to put all of our beer in, for example.
It's a great cooler.
Right.
It's a great cooler. Have you tried any of these fancy, like Japanese style toilets where the wand and everything?
No, I haven't.
Oh my God. It will change your life. I'm going to buy you one.
Oh, really?
Yes. Because there's one that you can get where you take off your seat cover and your seat and you put this thing on and then you attach it to it's very easy. And then you have to plug it in. So you got to find an AC that's nearby.
Yeah.
It will. Okay, a wand, you pre-program it. The seat will be warm for you, at the temperature you want it. So you sit down to a warm seat.
Ooh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, a wand will come, after you finish, you hit a button, a wand will come out. It will spray you down there with a pre-dialed in temperature, water.
Yeah.
And then another wand will come out and blow it dry.
Really? How big is this thing?
It's small. It just fits on a toilet. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a little higher. It sits a little higher, but let me tell you, it'll change your life.
You, is that what you told me about? You sent me a composting barrel one time a couple of years ago. I don't know. I think you told me that would change my life too, which it did. It did.
Yeah, composting barrels are amazing, aren't they?
Yeah.
You got to get the kind that turns, though, everybody. You got to get the kind that you can turn.
Yeah. Are you still composting?
No.
Change your life.
I'm barely washing my feet, okay?
I remember one time my friend who lived next to me in the dorms in France, he was from North Carolina, and his grandmother came over to visit. And when she saw that bidet, she got all upset. She was like, "What's that Baptist foot washer doing in here?" So, but it was large. The bidet was large, and you would have to turn on hot and cold.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'll say when I came back from France and trying to, like a lot of students that went overseas at that time, you come back from Europe, you want to keep it going. So you don't bathe as much when you come back. You don't shower as much when you come back. And I think that was very common for American foreign exchange students in the 80s, or probably 70s and 80s.
Well, I'm glad you're saying this because when you came back, Jesus. And you had that long hair and those chops. My God.
Smelled bad.
There he is. Here comes Frenchie. Watch out.
Well, that's the whole, it's like when you're overseas and everybody is smelling bad, you don't stick out. It's all context.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Subjective. I totally agree.
And then when you get back, suddenly you're the smelly guy on campus. You know what I mean? You and some of the old hippies that are still hanging around out there.
Yeah.
But I think that's what Matilda Wellen's talk about, like the social thing is like it changes with whatever context you're in as far as you're bathing.
Yeah.
And And just again, I went back to France like a couple of decades later, and the first thing I noticed is everybody was bathing all the time. I was still all ready not to bathe for a while, and I'm sure people were looking at, even in France, they were looking at me like, "Oh, hey, what's wrong with that American? He really smells bad." Things had changed. I hadn't. The world had changed. I hadn't.
Yeah.
But anyway, Matilda Wellen says that some people are going back to not showering or bathing every day. Wow. And she gives the example of celebrities who have admitted to not showering. And one of them was in 2021, Ashton Kutcher.
Oh, boy.
Said that sometimes he washes only his, quote, armpits and crotch daily and nothing else.
No. No, that's wrong. I'm here to tell you that's wrong.
Well, the thing is, it was probably historically, that's probably what most people did. Why? I mean, he probably was going overboard with it. You know what I mean? Historically.
Yeah.
But I went and I looked up the article that she was referring, and sure enough, you go back to July 2021, all the big news stories were reporting about Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis being on the Armchair Expert podcast, talking about how they don't bathe that often.
Oh boy!
And it was CNN, ABC News, People, and then I found even Business Insider. Business Insider was commenting
this is
on
really news.
I know.
Wow.
And I think that was probably, if that says more about who we are as a culture, that you have all these legitimate news stories, even Business Insider.
Jesus.
Trying to talk about Ashton Kutcher saying he doesn't, he only splashes some water on his face and then he does his undercarriage every day. That probably,
he better be doing deep down that undercarriage. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're that good looking and that famous, people have to deal with whatever you throw at them.
Yeah.
And of course, they're going to tell you that it's fine and supportive.
Yeah.
But I'm not. I'm going to tell them what their friends won't tell them. You two need to bathe.
Yeah. It's
but if they were here, I would just yes, ma'am them.
Yeah, me too.
I'd be like, that's probably good. It saves water, and it's
I'm going to try that. I'm going to try that.
Good for your body. No, you don't smell at all. It's amazing.
How about, do you do the dude wipes? Have you ever seen the dude wipes at the store?
No, what are those? Are those for your bottom, or are they for all over?
Yeah, you just carry them around. They're like wet wipes, only they're a little bit bigger, a little bit sturdier, and you use them to, if something goes wrong down south, you can can go in there.
I should have them, because things do go wrong down there, and I could use some help. But aren't they bad to flush?
No, they say that they're okay. I don't know. I'm sure years from now we'll find some huge, dude wipe berg.
Yeah,
plugging up the fatberg they find in London all the time in the sewers. We'll find a dude wipe berg that just has plugged up the entire
oh god,
eastern seaboard.
Oh god.
And then Wellen notes a chemist at MIT named David Whitlock, who also caused...
Don't you mean Whitlock?
Yeah, that's ironic. I just realized. Now that I mentioned it, it's going to be coming up all the time. The aspirated WH. All you linguists out there, I'm just waiting. You got a subject. Put me up someplace nice. And then start the recorder and let me talk away. There's your thesis. So Whitlock also caused a stir in 2014 when he said he hadn't bathed in 12 years.
Okay, Whitlock. That's insane.
Yeah. Well, before you judge, let me tell you how he did it.
All right. I'm sorry, but I've already judged. I apologize. I already did it. But I'll try to.
All right.
I couldn't help it. It's like saying Whitlock. I know. It came out. The judgment came out.
In an article titled "Why No Soap, No Shampoo? Bacteria-Rich Hygiene Experiment" in the New York Times Magazine in May 2014,
Julia Scott discusses Whitlock's research.
Oh, boy.
And what Whitlock says in the article is he got the idea from watching horses roll in dirt.
Oh, Whitlock. Jesus.
And he thought, when he saw that, he thought that maybe the horses were managing their sweat by taking dirt baths.
Oh, Whitlock.
So what he thought was maybe there was good bacteria in the dirt that was helping the horses manage their sweat and
Has
their
he
perspiration.
not seen horses with flies all over their heads?
I don't know. But anyway, he took some dirt and he started growing bacteria from the dirt in ammonia. And the ammonia was supposed to represent your perspiration.
Okay. So
and
he's still bathing at this point. He's just doing it in his lab.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
But what he ended up with was a really hardy, strong form of the bacteria Nitrosomonas eutropha that loved perspiration. It loved to metabolize and oxidize perspiration.
Okay. It ate perspiration.
Right. So instead of bathing or showering for 12 years, Whitlock would spray himself with this solution of ammonia oxidizing bacteria. And this is what they started a company called AOBiome, and they produce something called AO Plus refreshing cosmetic products, but it's with all bacteria that you don't bathe as much, and you spray yourself with the spray of a healthy bacteria.
Yeah. And
Whitlock said in 2015 to NPR, he said they washed his hands before eating, but otherwise he just spritzed with this AO bacteria, this ammonia oxidizing bacteria.
But he's only talking about sweat.
Yeah.
What about filth?
I know.
That's not going to take care of your earwax. That's not going to take care of dirt.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
He's probably got some barbecue sauce on him somewhere that's been there for ever.
It's you know what? After all this research, I spent the last week reading all this about this ammonia oxidizing bacteria. It never came up to me. I'm what you just said. I'm how do you, if you go out and work on your car, you can spritz as much as you want, but you're going to have grease all over yourself.
I mean, I'm not washing my feet to get sweat off them. It's nasty toe cheese and
Yeah.
And I'm certainly not washing my behind to get sweat off. God knows what he was doing down there.
I don't know.
Was he just spraying that stuff down there? Well, that'll do it. No, Whitlock, it doesn't do it.
But if you go on their website, AOBiome Therapeutics, they say that this is a, quote, an evolutionary approach to restoring health by addressing a broad range of inflammatory skin conditions by harnessing a single strain of class-defining ammonia oxidizing bacteria whose presence on the skin has been eliminated through modern living. So they're saying by us washing all the time, we've kind of like what all the probiotic arguments are, is that we've removed the good bacteria. From our skin.
I buy that to some extent.
Yeah.
But if I'm smelling for a business meeting, I don't care what bacteria is on good bacteria. I think he's missing the point a little bit.
Yeah, you have to have a lot of confidence in that spray.
Jesus.
When you go in to pitch a show or something.
Yes. And if it's got ammonia, it doesn't have ammonia in it. He tested it in ammonia. I was going to say that ammonia, you spray that some places and.
Yeah. Do you have a cat? Do you have a cat?
You a cat lover?
You should get those fixed. You should get those fixed, Do you how about when you go camping? I know when you go camping, I've been to field school with a bunch of archaeology students, and they're after a couple of days out in the field with no shower, it gets a little ripe in the morning when you get up.
I don't shower when I'm camping. I'll brush my teeth at the campsite, but that's about it. I'll just keep putting on layers of deodorant, but that's it. That's all you get.
Yeah, yeah. It's
I
hard.
don't like some campsites have showers, but
yeah.
I don't know. I'll just wait till I get home. Unless it's like a week-long trip.
Yeah. See, that's the problem. Mary loves camping. And I get by. I'd much rather be in a hotel room, but I'll go out camping.
Yeah.
But I usually need a hot shower at the end of the day when I'm out. Even out camping, I like to have a hot shower.
So you'll take your quarters down to the shower, camp out shower, and do it?
Yeah, I do, as long as it's there.
Yeah.
But we always have to, I'm always like, try to get book a site near the shower. So we're up there where everybody's walking by.
Some of those camp out showers are really nice.
Yeah.
I've been in some, but but it's all the bugs that I can't handle.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I hate bugs.
They love it. It's just full of flies.
Yeah. Flies and spiders. And I'm just like, because it's water, it's attracting all the bugs.
We were camping in the Monsanto Mountains, which are just east of Albuquerque one time. And it was like raining and it was wet and cold and muddy. And we were in a tent, but the guy next to us was in one of those huge RVs. And every night I would hear his generator go on and I'd hear him in there with the shower running on the side of his RV. And I was going crazy. I was going crazy. I'd like, how much money do I have? Can I give this guy to let me go in there and take a shower in this?
Well, they have some portable showers that now and solar powered stuff.
Yeah.
There's some equipment out there.
I did that. We were working on a mammoth site north of Las Vegas, New Mexico, one time, and out in just a cattle field, out on and nothing. We were down in like an arroyo is where the bones had been found. And I had taken one of those with me where you have to put that bladder out on the hood of your car or your truck and warm it up. I ended up coming back from my shower. I was probably muddier than I was when I went in. You know
That's
what I mean?
The problem. You're clean for just while you're in there.
Yeah.
So this was a woolly mammoth site that you guys were at?
Yeah, a rancher up there had found a woolly mammoth skeleton. Some bones had come out. And so we were up there trying to take a look at, because paleontology will definitely be interested in woolly mammoths. But from archaeology, what we're really looking to see is if a human had been involved in the death of that woolly mammoth. And so it had died somewhere like, 10,000 years ago and then been washed down this arroyo or down this gully. And so the bones were still there and it was amazing. Like you would still pull out like molars, the teeth or the toe bones of this woolly mammoth. But we never found any actual evidence that it had been killed. It was just it had been moved from where it had actually died. So there was no evidence.
So,
But
how big is a woolly mammoth molar? Is that like the size of a softball or something?
Oh no, it's like good size, like at least an inch and a half, yeah. And you can still see the enamel on it and everything. It's very cool. Yeah, it was very cool.
That's
and it's still, there were a lot of woolly mammoths up in northern New Mexico and even at Highlands University where I went, one time I walked into like an old shed that we had with a lot of, it was secured and everything. But there was a woolly mammoth tusk in there and that had been found locally as well. And it's just impressive every time you see one of those things.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
But the downside is you're around a bunch of people who aren't showering.
Right.
You're all working together and scratching and, using your paintbrushes to dust the bones off.
Somebody takes their shoes off in the car. It's like, oh my God, come on.
And when Whitlock shows up with his biome spray, he goes, oh Jesus, here he comes.
Just I don't know what to tell him, at that point. It's like,
you don't smell like sweat. I'll tell you, I'll give that to you. You don't smell like sweat.
But Matilda Wellen, in her article, she quotes a Danish professor, Kristen Graham Hansen, who says that the social contract aspect of frequent showering becomes evidence when we put ourselves in environments like trekking holidays or music festivals. And there, like we were talking about, different norms come into play, and suddenly it is okay to shower less.
Yeah.
So when you were, like, you went to a lot of music festivals, I think, right?
Yes, I did.
And a lot of Grateful Dead shows.
Yes. I loved the thing that the best part of what attracted me to the Grateful Dead was the drug abuse.
The music was secondary.
Absolutely. I mean, if you'd asked me back then, I would have said, "Oh, I love the music." But now looking back at the music, it was okay, and it had nothing to do with the music.
40 minutes of noodling around on the guitar.
It was a good place to drop acid. That was basically. But
did you worry about showering or anything when
no. I worried about losing my sense of self. I had more important things to focus on.
What when you came back, were you like 3 days of like just filth and everything?
Filth, and my brain was oozing out of my ears and just every which way. Yeah.
Did you dance? Did you dance when you go? Or
I grooved. I moved around. Yeah. I mean. Yeah, I don't really know what I did, to be honest with you. I was because we used to do a thing called axing, where you would take acid, and then like an hour in, you'd take ecstasy.
Wow. Wow.
And then you just drink. Then you just do whatever came your way, just to hang on to reality.
Well, all right.
So I don't know. I'm not real sure about a lot of things. I remember being at a show inside a what do you call it? A staircase. This was an indoor show, and I got trapped in a staircase, and I was losing my mind. And there was a friend of mine who she had to be taken off by the emergency. She was taken away in an ambulance. And I was able to kind of somehow grasp the tendrils of who John was, and was able to make my way back and I finished the night. So the two of us in that stairwell just looking at each other like, oh, man.
Oh, God. And just the muffled, like, come here, John's man. I will survive. Just kind of muffled coming through the walls. Oh.
Yeah. And she went out on a stretcher, and I turned around and went back in.
Had a good time. So Wellen also talks about, she links back through this article about like not taking showers. She links back to an article she wrote in May 2023 about the no wash movement for clothing.
Oh boy.
Do you know that?
No.
And it's a movement that we should wash our clothes less, not more.
Okay.
And generally it's what people do is they don't wash their raw denim jeans, for example. But they're trying to do it, or lots of people do it for the environment because you use less water.
I do that. I don't wash my jeans or my chinos until until they look dirty.
Yeah.
But I wash my underwear after one use. And same with a shirt. That's not, and socks. Those are all getting washed one time on John, one time in the washer. That's the way they work.
Do you save them up over the week, or are you like in the same
I have a hamper, like a civilized person.
Right.
But
They, but anyway, like I was saying, the raw denim jeans. So there's people to get really good fading on your jeans. Mm-hmm. You're not supposed to wash them.
Really?
And there's
the opposite. I thought washing was the thing that faded jeans.
No, I guess you get the really cool. like it does get cool if you fade it, but the really cool like designs in the fading, you don't wash them.
Okay.
And there's a competition called the Indigo Invitational.
Oh boy. Here we go.
People don't wash their raw denim jeans for a year, and then they submit them. I don't know if they submit the actual jeans or they submit photos of the jeans to show how they've been faded. And then it's judged.
Oh, well, I know parts of the jeans that are definitely fading. You fart in a jean for a year and don't wash it, you're going to have a fade mark there. I guarantee it.
Did you tie-dye that? Well, sort of. Kind of, in a way.
Yeah.
In a way.
That's a starburst design. It's really... Why there, though? Why down there?
If you go on their website, and it's getting ready to start, so people could still have a chance to enter, the Indigo Invitational and the Red Line Rally. And the Red Line Rally is for denim shirts and jackets.
Okay.
But they say they're the world's largest and most inclusive raw denim fading competition. And they say they've been beacons for denim heads since 2019. So I love it. Anytime people are really into something, like we talk about, I'm a Fred head into Fred Harvey hotels. Yeah. I love that there's denim heads out there.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that it exists. I mean, that's kind of what the show's about, is like the subsets of culture. And I'm glad, but no, I'm not interested. And I'm going to wash my jeans when I spill spaghetti sauce on them. I'm just going to do it.
In the article, they actually, the guy who organized the Indigo Invitational, he talks about after a certain time, the jeans start smelling a little funny.
Yeah, like no shit. Underscore shit. Yeah. What do you think comes out of your butt when you fart? It's a bunch of poo spores. That's what it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
The good news for me, I mean, I don't have to worry about my old clothes anymore because my kids steal them and destroy them.
Really?
Yes.
What do you mean?
My daughter took my favorite Metallica shirt. I mean, this was original Metallica shirt.
Yeah.
Took it and cut it up, and now it's gone. My son took my favorite pair of jeans, my favorite pair of Dickies.
Yeah.
They take everything that's good in my life, and they're like, this is cool. And they take it and wear it and then lose it and destroy it.
Yeah. Oh, no. Maybe you should buy them their own clothes. I don't know. They seem like
then they buy their own clothes. I'm like, you've got your own clothes. You know what I have to do now? I hide certain things.
Really?
I basically keep everything on me in my car that is of value to me.
Go out and change.
It's so true. Like, I have in my briefcase a garage door opener because they all take them and lose them. I can't leave them in the car. I have to take it with me.
Oh, no.
Because they'll steal them out of my car. All kinds of stuff like that.
Yeah.
iPhone cords. I keep them on me. I have to travel with all my possessions now.
Oh, no.
It's so true.
So what do you I got to put on a new shirt to get dressed. You get in your car and drive over to Griffith Park in the parking lot.
I go to a bank. I have a safety deposit box where I keep all my good clothes.
Underwear, some nice clothes, some old concert t-shirts.
My son, I have these incredible pair of boots. You've seen them that I've had for over 30 years.
Yeah.
And my son, just the other day, he was like, "Woo, these are cool." And I'm like, "No way. No."
You got to lock those up.
Don't steal a man's boots.
Yeah. Yeah. Remember, in college, I had that faded, speaking of denim jackets, I had that Faded Glory denim jacket. It was a long denim jacket.
You loaned it to me.
I did. I think you wore it when you did Lenny Bruce.
You never got it back?
No, I did. You gave it back. But I'm just saying that I want it back. Is it still in your...
I was like, uh-oh.
No, but that's, again, it's like you have a favorite pair of jeans or you have a favorite jacket.
That was a cool jacket that you had.
That was a cool jacket.
Yeah.
Actually, that jacket was cooler than me. I
don't know. That was a cool jacket.
That was. But when that starts to go, like your good pair of jeans, you're washing them a lot, and then it's like, oh God, it's like losing a pet.
It's horrid. They just took what did they just take of mine and destroy? Oh, it was just a really good pair of jeans that I'd had forever. 501s, perfectly broken in. And I saw my son wearing them, and I jeans. I was like, I thought to myself, are those my jeans? And then I looked in my closet. There were no jeans. And then I went on. I lost it. I really did. I got upset, which I rarely do. I was like, I said, this really hurts my feelings that you would take. And he's looking at me like, Dad, they're a pair of jeans. And I'm like, no, yes, they are, but no, they're not.
Yeah.
But he'd already ruined them. They'd already been cut. He he'd already ruined them. They got cotton in his bike and it ripped and they were over. It was too late.
You guys are like college roommates.
Yeah.
You're like, stay out of my stuff.
Oh, and he uses my razor. I bought him his own razor and he loses it and then he uses mine. And my daughters I know that my daughter and wife have used my razor to shave their legs and God knows what. And I'm like, that's my razor.
Yeah. You know what you do? My advice to you is put on a lot of weight. You need to get beyond him, idea. You know,
but he likes them baggy. He likes the stuff baggy. No, I don't think that's going to work. I think I need to go the other direction.
Keep feeding him then.
Yeah, that's a good idea. But he doesn't shed it. He's like a piece of rope, that kid.
Yeah.
God, he looks amazing.
How about sweatpants? You ever think about going for the old sweatpant look?
I should just
Russian tracksuit.
Yeah, I gotta just go to start wearing stuff that nobody wants to wear. You're right. But I do feel that way, that nothing is mine. Yeah, nothing. Anything that's mine, they take.
Hey, come on! This is a comedy show.
No, I'm sorry. I've got it. I need my own. I want my own. I want something that's mine.
Listen, call me after we record.
Okay. He took this microphone that I'm recording the show on. I found it in his room.
I'm going to.
It's like, that's my podcast microphone.
I'm going to come get you. Just give me a location. I'll come pick you up.
I got to get out of here.
All right, let's try to move on.
I'm sorry, everybody.
So, my question is, John, talking about cleanliness and showering every day.
Yeah.
How did we get here? Again, kind of like with the talking heads. How did we go, for 2.5 million years, we probably had grooming. Like picking parasites out off one another.
Maybe getting in a stream.
Yeah, maybe.
To clean the taint. I just worry about their taint. Everybody must have just had scratchy butts, It must have been horrible.
I'm sure. All that hair, leftover hair from... But how did we... certainly we weren't washing every day.
No.
So the idea is, how did we go from not washing every day to washing every day to suddenly we're back to where people are making a statement by not washing every day? And in her article, Dirt, Disgust, and Disease, A Natural History of Hygiene, talk about alliteration. I'm not the only one doing it. Valerie Curtis defines hygiene as the set of behaviors that animals, including humans, use to avoid infection.
Okay.
And she says that hygiene in avoiding infection has an ancient evolutionary history that most animals exhibit in such behaviors because they were adaptive.
I totally, buy into that.
Right.
If you have skin that's extra sensitive to parasites,
right,
then your genes are going to get passed on.
Right.
Because you're going to want those parasites off your body and you're going to have a better chance of surviving.
Yeah. And so she says those behaviors, that hygienic behavior was, whether it be grooming to remove parasites or just trying to avoid other individuals with parasites or avoid situations that may expose you to parasites. And by the way, I think we have an episode on parasites coming up. So I'm not going to. So I'm not going to.
That just made my whole body itch. Oh,
that's coming in a few weeks, so we're not going to go
afraid into parasites. I cannot abide parasites.
Really?
Oh, did you look at the bot fly? Is that part of the discussion?
No.
Okay.
But
nobody Google that. Don't Google. Don't do it.
Yeah, save it. It's like in a month, I think. It's on the list, but it's in a month.
Okay.
But Curtis says that this natural instinct to avoid disease and infection manifests itself through disgust. Okay. And in other words, when we see something or smell something that we subconsciously or instinctually feel we should avoid, we feel disgust.
Right. And I mean, that's why we don't like the smell of poop. It's because it's harmful to us. And we want to get away. We don't want to poop where we live. We want to be far away from it.
It's funny you mentioned poop because in the book Clean, A History of Personal Hygiene.
Oh, no.
Virginia Smith talks about there was an experiment done where volunteers, they were, exposed to a blast of excrement smell in their face. And they had to sit there and see how long they could take it before they were like, I got to get away from this, this thing. And most people could only last about 5 minutes at the most. Ooh, other people were like, they had to get out of there.
Yeah.
And we went out for ice cream last night. We tried a new ice cream place.
Okay.
And Mary and I walked in, and the first thing I noticed, one, there was nobody in there.
Oh,
we were the only people. It was Saturday night. You think an ice cream place would be pretty packed. Not too late, you know.
Oh, boy.
And then it hit me. It was a smell of like sewage. Or like, you know, the dirty mop or something. It was pervading the whole place.
They had, I bet their grease trap backed up. You ever have to clean a grease trap in a restaurant?
No. That may have been
the worst job in the world.
Yeah.
The grease trap. I don't know if they still exist, but in every restaurant I worked in, there was this, I don't even know how to describe it. It was made out of cement or it was steel. Yeah. It was about the size of a cooler or maybe 2 coolers. Yeah. And all of the waste ran through it. So it could grab the grease and the stuff so that it wouldn't clog up the rest of the sewage lines.
Yeah.
And oh man, every now and then somebody had to go in there and clean that thing, and I had to do it once, and it was just the worst thing in the world.
It sounds awful. It sounds awful. Maybe that boy, and it would back up the whole. This smelled like somebody had gone in the restroom and done something, and they couldn't flush it.
All the sewage will back up if you don't. Maybe they didn't even have one, and so the grease itself just caused it all to back up.
Oh God! Yeah,
I'm surprised you never had to clean one. That surprises me.
Yeah, no, I never.
Because you were I know you were a dishwasher and
and a pot washer.
Yeah, those are the guys. Somehow you dodged a bullet.
Was that on purpose or not? I don't know. Like maybe once I saw what they were, kept my ears open. I saw when they were getting ready to clean that thing.
It was like opening a crypt. That's what it was like. It had a weird lock on top, and you'd have to kind of get this heavy lid off of it.
Oh God!
And get down in there. Whoa.
Yeah, but it smelled so bad. And after we got our ice cream, and Mary was like, "Do you want to have a seat?" And I was like, "No, I want to get the hell out of here. This is really." But it was disgust. I was feeling disgust, and even after we left and we sat in our car trying to eat the ice cream, you could still. I still sense that smell in there. So it was like
That's why McCrays are still around. You guys have that olfactory connection.
Yeah. 50% Neanderthal. We're still
you're still here.
But anyway, over the time, and probably within the last 10,000 years, this natural reason or this natural inclination or instinct to try to avoid infection kind of got put onto morality or religion as well. And Smith says that the Anglo-Saxon word for clean was originally used in a variety of different ways, but one of those ways was to refer to morality. So you think about, we refer to unclean spirits or unclean thoughts.
Yes.
Or dirty jokes, dirty words. Those are all like cleanliness.
Yeah.
But we're trying to put that onto an idea or onto a person, that the person is unclean.
Yes.
And so this dirt avoidance, these religious practices that were basically dirt avoidances, evolved in early societies for 2 functions. She says, one, they were a type of metaphysical insurance policy or defense against the physical cracks in the universe, so that we're trying to explain the universe. And the other, she says, they held the body politic together in an orderly set of social relationships. So if you think about, like, in Judaism, there's a lot of, and you can go in to more on this, but it's lots of rules about cleanliness.
Absolutely. Yeah. The washing of the hands is like a ritual for every single Shabbat and holiday. And then there's like the Kohim, which is the the descendants of Aaron, Moses's brother, who are their job is to clean the body and prepare the body for burial.
Yeah.
And that gets passed on by word of mouth. So if your last name is Cohen or Katz or something like that, there's a chance that your father would say to you, "Hey, we're part of you're a Kohim." And you talk to people and ask, are you a Kohim? And they'll either be like, no, or they'll be like, yeah, my dad,
Really?
Yeah, it gets passed down word of mouth.
That's very
crazy?
cool.
Yeah.
I mean, like you have to go out and bathe the bodies at that point.
Your job. Well, just because you're in the Kohim doesn't mean you're going to do it, but you're the only ones who can.
Yeah, so, it would be like if your father pulls it back. By the way, I got something to tell you. Our family, we clean grease traps.
Yeah, exactly. That's what the Lehrs are, really. We're the grease trappers.
We pass it down. Yeah. If your name is Lehr, chances are your family is like grease trappers.
Everything goes through the grease trap. Everything. The toilets, the sinks, the dishwasher, the garbage disposal, everything.
So, in her book, The Dirt of Clean, Katherine Ashenburg says that worshipers around the world wash themselves before prayer, which you're talking about before the Shabbat.
Yeah.
And Muslims also wash themselves before prayer.
People of the book.
Yeah. And then even Catholics, that dipping your fingers into the holy water is still a remnant of washing yourself before you go in and pray.
Yeah.
And other things where she talks about the moral symbolism of washing, when you say like Pontius Pilate washed his hands of Jesus' death, or you say, I wash my hands of this, you're removing responsibility from it. Lady Macbeth also says, a little water clears us of this deed when she's talking about killing Duncan.
Turns out, no. For her, it did not help.
But again, it becomes, it's like cleaning is like a rite of passage almost too.
Yes.
Again, like we were talking about, a ritual that separates the ordinary world to what you're going into
from the spiritual, the holy, the mundane from the holy.
Right. And didn't you, when you became, and maybe you don't want to talk about it, when you became Jewish, didn't you take a mikveh bath? I was there for it. I was there for the mikveh.
Yes, you were. You were my. You were supposed to be there. You were my
wingman. I was your wingman.
My mikveh wingman. Yes. The mikveh is now the way they do it now is it almost looks like you're going into a what do you call it? A jacuzzi. It looks a lot like a jacuzzi. It's just a little thing. And it's got the stairs down into it, but there's a little cork in the wall of the jacuzzi. And before you do the mikveh, before you say the prayer, you pull that cork out, and that cork lets in fresh water. It has to be water from a stream, from an ocean, moving water.
Yeah.
And the way they do it now is they'll get like the Jews figure out everything. They'll take water from a stream and freeze it and keep that in the reservoir. And so when you open that cork, a little bit of it comes in. And once a little bit comes in, it transfers all the water into holy water. Yes.
Really?
And
see,
then,
I was thinking, like, where did they find a stream up there on the top
didn't.
of the mountain?
They didn't. They ordered ice. There's some, kosher company that makes mikveh water cubes.
That's great.
Isn't that great?
Yeah.
And it can be from the ocean. So it's probably from the ocean, from the Pacific Ocean, which is, now thinking about that, God knows what I was thinking in.
Hepatitis or something.
Yeah, exactly.
You syringe come out.
Been to Venice. It's like, I'm going swimming. You're like, I wouldn't.
A couple of used condoms come out.
Yeah, exactly. Come out with a syringe in your back. But yeah, and then you say the prayers. There's always there's 3 prayers, and then you dip yourself underwater, fully immerse yourself, similar like, because John the Baptist was a Jew.
Yeah.
Everybody hate to tell you, but baptism, the Jews invented that too. So Yeah, you would immerse yourself, and then that's kind of one of the final. After that, you're a Jew, unless you're a guy, then you have to be recircumcised. A ritual of circumcision, which we'll go into another time. But anyway, but the only other thing about it is the three rabbis have to witness you going underwater. And so these three old men.
I wondered who those guys were.
Yeah, and I'm naked. And I had a nipple ring at the time.
Yeah.
And I remember them looking at each other and whispering about whether it's okay with the nipple ring. Like, did I need to take it out or whatever? But no, I didn't. And I did it and I was done.
That's where your wingman comes in.
Yeah,
that's where your wingman. Right. I jump in there.
Yeah. Hey, wait a minute. He's not taking out the nipple ring.
I take it for you. I take the mikvah for you. So, John, let's go on to cultures throughout history who liked bathing. Obviously, the Romans did a lot of bathing.
Yes, they did.
And
they did a lot of stuff in there, too.
I know.
It was a lot of screwing while they were bathing.
Yeah, and they say that brothels were usually located near the baths in ancient Rome.
Makes sense.
And you would go, it was someplace you could go socialize. The baths were big. You go to the snack bar.
Have you ever been to a bathhouse like that? Like a Korean bathhouse or a Russian bathhouse? I've been to them a couple of times. It's interesting. I mean, there's like you sit in the steam thing and you have the eucalyptus thing.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of old dudes, mostly old dudes walking around naked.
Yeah.
Jumping in different, one's a cold dip, where you go underwater, which just stops your heart. And then there's a pool, and then there's this and that. And, people hang out there all day.
Did you go by yourself? Just go in?
It was a group of people. I want to say maybe it might have been like for a wedding, like a
really
part of the
group. Oh, that'd be great.
Things.
Yeah.
But I was bored. I was like, all right, I've had enough.
Yeah. They what the Romans would do is you go in the different pools, but then to get clean, they used something called a strigil, which was a metal scraper.
Oh God.
And you would have to have somebody scrape your back
to
get the dirt off, dirt off you and stuff.
Jesus.
And then you would rub down with oil, and you'd rub down with perfumes and things.
Yeah, they had masseuses there. I had a massage. It was good because it was very manly and deep and hard and lots of pounding.
Not sensual. Not sensual at all.
Not sensual at all, but it was great. It was really great.
I read where Ashenburg said that, countries like Japan and Finland, where there's that culture of people going out and bathing together, communal baths, that one of the things people talk about from those cultures when they come to America is that they miss that communal bath.
Yeah.
Like that was something that is they miss that community or that sociability of the communal bath.
Yeah. And I lived in a Russian neighborhood, and I was a member of the 24-hour fitness gym. And it was so funny because it was in West Hollywood. So it was like 50% gay men.
Yeah.
And 50% Russians who they never worked out. They would just be in the pool or in the shower section, all day. And the gay men were in there having sex. It was crazy. It was a crazy combination of cultures.
It was like a ancient Roman bath. It really was.
It really was. It was a free for all. It was by far the most fascinating thing. And there was a guy there, and maybe I talked about it, but we called him the loaf of bread man. Did I ever tell you about this guy?
No.
Okay. He was a Russian guy, and he looked like a weightlifter, kind of with the big pot belly, like a Russian weightlifter, But where his penis was a loaf of bread, a loaf of Wonder Bread.
No.
Now, I don't know what happened or what it was, but all I'm saying is it was a loaf of Wonder Bread.
Wow.
And it was elephantitis. I don't know what it was.
Yeah.
But he was not ashamed of it.
Yeah.
He would walk around just with it. And man, you never saw so many people avoiding him, And I would tell other people in the neighborhood, be like, hey, do you go to the 24-hour fitness? Yeah. You ever seen the loaf of bread man? Yes. What is that?
So everybody knew.
Everybody knew. Yeah, because he was there all the time.
I'm glad you brought that up. We'll do an episode on it. I'm trying to move on.
Understand it because, it just things you don't understand are so terrifying because they live with you forever.
What about when he got in cold water?
I don't know. I never saw him. I just saw him walking around in the locker room. Yeah. And whenever I saw even a glimpse of him, I was like, oh, shit. And I would just get my stuff and get the hell out of there. I couldn't take it.
Dropping your keys.
The pride and the way he carried himself.
Yeah.
It was just so, I don't know. It was.
If you got it, flaunt it. So, John, in the Middle Ages, there were still bathhouses, but with early Christianity, they began to see like not bathing or being dirty as like a badge of purity, like a badge of being religious, for example.
That's
so
weird.
They were going the other way against like Roman being hedonists, the Romans being hedonists, for example, going to the baths.
It was like wearing a hair shirt or something very uncomfortable to remind you of the holy.
Right.
Somehow.
And so you have like St. Agnes never washed, and St. Godric apparently walked from England to Jerusalem without washing or changing his
Here
clothes.
Comes Godric.
He's just back from the Holy Land.
Some perfume and a handkerchief. Here he comes. Hey, guys. Oh, hey, God. I gotta... Oh, I'm so sorry. I gotta run.
You know that feeling.
Yeah.
He was like the loaf of bread man. Come on.
Yeah. Jesus, here comes Godric. Here comes Godric.
And there were even reports of St. Francis coming back from the dead to compliment people on how dirty their rooms were.
Well, Francis gave up everything. I mean, that guy. Jesus.
But there was also at the time, there was a belief that if you got into the bath, it would open your pores. And if you opened your pores, you were susceptible to diseases. Because that was back when they thought there was miasma out in the air.
Right.
So
the humors.
Right. So even doctors in the 15 and 1600s were telling people not to bathe because you wanted to have like a greasy dirt film on you to keep the diseases out.
Oh my God.
Example.
Yeah.
And if you, Elizabeth I, they said that she only bathed once a month.
Oh my God.
Yeah. James I of England only washed his fingers. Louis XIV, the Sun King, he only had 3 baths his entire life. Like once when he was 7, and then apparently he took one when he was 27. And he must have freaked out in it or something, because they said that he was so traumatized by the bath that he took when he was 27 that they tried it again a year later when he was 28. Same thing. He had terrible headaches after the bath that they told him just, don't take any more baths.
Wow. So, maybe he had like a drowning experience or something? Or
it sounds more like he was, I don't know, how deep could it be or whatever. But but it was just like he was afraid he was being exposed to diseases. So basically all he would do is he'd get up in the morning, kind of, splash a little water on his face. And then on his hands, he'd have a little wine and water that he'd put on his hands. And that was it. And they said he was the King of France, the Sun King. And they said he smelled horrible. Had bad breath, smelled terrible. Yeah.
Oh, Your Highness.
But what they did back then is they believed that instead of taking baths, all you had to do was change your clothes, change your linens. So you would change your shirt throughout the day, but you wouldn't actually bathe yourself.
Oh my God.
So then when we get to, John Wesley, who started Methodism, when he said cleanliness is next to godliness, what he was talking about wasn't your personal body. He was talking about your clothes.
No, like
you keep your clothes clean.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So then finally, John, in the 1800s, just to go through this quickly, people started to look at like again, coming back to being clean was a sense of your internal morality or purity.
Mm-hmm.
And so then you had like early Christian, social reformers and sanitary reformers like William Alcott wrote in 1835, "We do and must insist that the connection between cleanliness of body and purity of moral character is much more close and direct than has usually been supposed." So part of that movement of like the Christian social reformers in the late 1800s was to try to clean people, to improve them socially or spiritually.
Interesting.
And so they would say dirty hands, greasy clothes, offensive odors, grime on the skin, all entered into complex judgments about the social position of the dirty person and actually about his or her moral worth. So how clean you were became basically a status symbol, not only socially, but also how you were spiritually as a Christian.
Mm-hmm.
And then also towards the end of the 1800s, what led to us bathing more was Peter Ward, the historian, says that one, you had Louis Pasteur's germ theory. So we suddenly realized that, hey, it's not in the air. You actually have to clean yourself to get rid of germs. Secondly, we had more plumbing.
Yes.
That came out.
Yes.
And it was easier because people used to spend so much time trying to haul water up to their
apartment. It was a pain in the ass.
And then you had to haul it out. Because there were no pipes.
Right. There were no drains.
Right. And then finally, he said it was all the soap industry. So when you had the soap industry start to, like Procter & Gamble with Ivory soap, start to produce soap all, on a major scale, they had to market it. And one way that you would market it was to convince people that you needed to bathe all the time, whether it be laundry soap, because Ivory soap you could use on your laundry or you could use on yourself. But it was really the soap industry through soap operas.
That's why capitalism comes directly from God.
Yeah.
Yet another example.
Yeah, and if you think about it, when Ivory soap, they'd always talk about 99 and 44/100ths pure.
Yeah, pure of what?
Yeah, but again, it's kind of getting back to that. It was white, it was pure. It's it was all about purity.
I use Ivory. I endorse it. Yeah.
I was going to say we'd get a deal on it, but after this episode, we might not.
Yeah, well, I do it. I use it. I'll take some video of me showering to show that I used it.
Okay. And just real quick, Ward says that advertising came to dominate the discourse on cleanliness, transforming it from a habit into a commodity. Rather than representing it as a worthy end in itself, publicity emphasized its central place in an individual's social relationships and its importance in self-presentation and social acceptance, its role in making oneself attractive to others.
Now we're talking business.
Yeah, so basically it was the soap industry that got us back to where we're to think that we need to bathe every single day.
And it was all about money.
Right. And so that's how, John, we went from never washing to washing every day to never washing again to washing every day. And now we're back to where people are saying we don't need to wash every day.
It's amazing.
Right.
But if you're not washing, and if you're one of those people and you're within the sound of our voice, you gotta scrub the butt area, the underarms, and the feet.
Yeah.
Okay?
Bare minimum.
Bare minimum.
Bare minimum on that.
Don't do it to us.
Yeah. And even if people won't say it to you, to your face,
We'll say it.
Yeah.
If you're concerned whether you might be smelly or not, scrape off a piece of your skin or something and mail it to us, and we'll give you the honest feedback.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, no. Bags of mail. Just like Christmas at the North Pole.
Take a wipe, a man wipe, whatever, and wipe your body down, put it in an envelope, send it to us, and we'll let you know.
You guys are overwhelming the local postal service. All right. Well, John, I think we've come to an end. Thank you so much. You've given me some images that I will never, ever forget.
Yes. Well, this is human number 2 signing off.
And this is human number 1. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. If you found this podcast interesting, please tell a friend about it. And thank you again for everything. We love you guys. John, love you.
Love you.
Go take a shower, everybody.
I'm going to right now.
Love you guys. See ya.
Bye.